Welcome back to FM Story. In this episode of our Athletic Club Save, we'll see the end of our first season in charge of the club. Can we hold on and secure qualification for the Champions League? Let's find out. If you do enjoy the video, please like, subscribe and comment. And without further ado, let's get going. We are approaching the end of our first season with Athletic Club. We only have 3 games left in the league, in fact. As you can see from the screen there, we have actually already managed to qualify for the Europa League. So at the very least, we'll be in the Europa League next season. That's 1 year ahead of the schedule that the board had set. In terms of the league, we're currently sat in 3rd with 3 points clear of Real Sociedad. And we are 8 points clear of Athletic. So in the league, we're 3rd. We're 3 points clear of Real Sociedad, and we're 8 points clear of Atletico. Now, the interesting thing in terms of us guaranteeing a place in the Champions League for next season is 2 of the 3 games we've got left are Real Sociedad and Atletico. Since the end of the last video, we've had a bit of an up and down run. So we ended the last episode with the 3-1 win against Valencia. We followed that up with a disappointing draw against Rayo Vallecano. We then went to played against Madrid and won 4-2. We were behind twice, so we were 1-0 down and 2-1 down, but fought back to get that 4-2 victory. We then followed that up with a really incredible 8-1 victory over Sevilla. We also had a goal disallowed as well, I think, in that game. So it could have been even better. Fortunately, at that point, we were still hot on the heels of Barcelona, but we followed that up with a disappointing defeat against Barcelona. Conceded 2 in 2 minutes at the end of the first half and never got back into the game. And then we followed that up with an even more disappointing 2-1 defeat against Almeria, where we took an early lead and then just fell apart. We did then beat Elche 3-0 with Raul Garcia getting a hat-trick. And then we drew against Getafe. We took a very early lead. They equalised late on. We were then on a counter-attack. I think it was like a 4-on-2 when Damian Suarez scythed down one of our players in the 94th minute. And that was the last action of the game, because as soon as the game restarted, the referee blew the final whistle. And then we followed that up in May with a tight victory over Real Valladolid, and then a comfortable win in the end over Villarreal. The problem with the Villarreal game were the bookings for Raul Garcia and Inaki Williams, because that then leaves them suspended for the next game, which is a home game against probably our biggest rivals, Real Sociedad. If we win that, then we're pretty much guaranteed to be, well. So we've got 3 games left. The first of the 3 games is against Real Sociedad at home. We beat them earlier on in the season, so hopefully we can repeat the feat here. If we do beat them, then we're almost guaranteed to finish in 3rd. In fact, pretty much are guaranteed to finish 3rd if we do beat them. Going into this game, we do have a few problems with suspensions in that Inaki Williams and Raul Garcia are both suspended. So Sanset's going to play behind Villalba with Munayin coming in from the left-hand side. Hopefully we can get off to a quick start at home. Real Sociedad have a lot of the ball early on. Right, Nico Williams drifting inside. Going a long way with the ball. But they intercepted it. Cap has got the ball now. He's now back to Nico Williams. Sanset. Surely that was a foul. And now they're breaking. Simon punched, but we've lost it. What a save We are not in this game at all, really. They've dominated possession. They've had much more chances. Martinez, Javi Lopez, White, Kappa, Nico Williams, back to Kappa. I mean, surely they were offside there. Obviously not. Right, half time. I mean, we've got a much higher XG, but considering we only had one shot on target, I'm not quite sure where that's kind of come from. They've had a lot more of the ball and a lot more chances. We don't have an awful lot of options to change things up front. Valabra's not had a very good first half, but hopefully he can pop up with a goal in the second half. Right, we've picked the ball up. Valabra's now dropped deep with it. Wide to Kappa. Poor ball looking for Nico Williams. We've nicked the ball back. Valabra. Munayin. Strange choice rather than crossing it. Kappa. I'm baffled. I mean, it might be onside. We'll wait and see. Yeah, it is onside. But that one was a strange one. This one not taking the shot was even stranger. And I think we caught them by as much by surprise as I was. And Sunset was able to open the scoring and put us 1-0 up. Definitely onside. Decent finish. All right, Javi Lopez is struggling there at the back. We'll have to get him off soon. Muniain wide to Nico Williams. Herrera. Kappa's in loads of space on the right hand side there. Sunset again. Vivian, Herrera, Kappa. Sunset breaking from midfield. What a ball. What a finish. 2-0. And that should be us almost guaranteed third spot. There are a few players that are really struggling, so we'll get them off. But it's a lovely lifted ball over the centre half. One touch from Sunset and then smashes it home. Right, so we made 4 changes there just to freshen everything up a bit. I mean, really, we can't throw it away from here, can we? And although we're only 6 points ahead of Real Sociedad, and technically they could beat us with a goal difference, obviously it's done on head-to-head. So as long as we don't concede 3 here, we'll still at least definitely be ahead on the head-to-head. Can we just seal it with a third? Venkato with a free kick. They've headed clear. Just blow your whistle, referee. It's got to be full time. Come on, ref. And that's it. 2-0 victory over Real Sociedad. Board will be happy. The fans will be happy. And that should be us guaranteed third place in the league. We've made it to the final day of the season. We are guaranteed to finish third, qualified for the Champions League. We are playing Atletico away on the last day of the season. Atletico still have something to play for, because if they win, there's a chance that they could end up finishing fourth and qualify for the Champions League. Especially as Real Sociedad are playing Real Madrid on that last day of the season. Since the game against Real Sociedad, we followed that up with another 2-0 victory at home against Espanyol. We picked pretty much a fully reserved team. The only one that was probably a normal start at the start was Raul Garcia. Inaki Williams came off the bench because Morcillo got injured, but otherwise it was pretty much a full reserve string side to enable us to have a fresh first team for this final game of the season. So we're going in with that, pretty much the full strength team that's played most of the second half of the season. We've gone for Raul Garcia up top ahead of Villalba because Villabra's had a few quiet games. But hopefully we can end the season on a high with a decent performance. Not much has happened early on, and we've had very little of the ball, but Venkador to Nico Williams. And Hugo Martinez striding forward to Javi Lopez, Raul Garcia. First shot was blocked, and then Nico Williams' shot was blocked, but not enough to stop it from going over the line. That's his 10th goal of the season. Hugo Martinez came forward out to Lopez. Lovely ball over the top. Garcia's shot was blocked. The same defender got a block on Nico Williams' shot, but not enough to stop it crossing the line there. Given the possession we'd had, that was pretty against the run of play. Not an awful lot happening in this game. Atletico, considering that they can qualify for the Champions League if they win, aren't doing an awful lot, especially since Sociedad are getting beat. But 1-0 at half time, we'll take that. More of the same in the second half. I mean, a decent ball and a decent finish, but we shouldn't have been caught out like that. We gave Lamar too much time to pick the ball out. No one went back with Griezmann. And he scores. Muniain with the free kick. Oh. He hits the woodwork. We'll make some changes after this highlight. Muniain, Raul Garcia. Javi Lopez smashes it home. And we're back in front. I mean, Muniain got acres of space. Raul Garcia had far too much time to be able to take a touch and then pass it. And absolutely no one attract Javi Lopez. So we made 4 changes just to freshen it up. We brought Oscar DeMarcos on just because he's retiring at the end of the season, so give him his last game for Bilbao. And that was a bit of a mistake because he's been turned inside out for that goal. A decent goal, but the defending. I mean, DeMarcos got skinned on the touchline, and turned inside out. Yeri had been pulled well out of position, and he was the one that was playing him onside in the end as well. DeMarcos has given the ball away again. It's probably a good job he's retiring, given his performance so far since he came on. Griezmann through again. Decent goal. I'm not quite sure how he got through the centre half because it looked like he ran right through the middle of it. Ball down the flank. Through his legs. And then the top corner. And that's going to qualify Atletico Madrid for the Champions League at the expense of Real Sociedad. So that's the one positive from it, is that Sociedad didn't get into the Champions League. We've reached the end of our first season with Athletic Club, finishing 3rd and qualifying for the Champions League. Brilliant season, couldn't have really gone any better, especially considering the board and the supporters only wanted us to qualify for the Europa League. In fact, the Europa Conference League, I think, in the board's case. So we've definitely sort of gone well above what was expected of us. In terms of the players that we signed, so we signed Julian John Guerrero, a lot of money, and someone who really wasn't expected to play any part in the first team this season. But he had a disappointing loan spell. We needed him, but we recalled him from that, and then we had a few injuries, and he played in the cup games mostly. But certainly performed well when he was called upon. Obviously, Ander Herrera was on loan from PSG already, but was a key part in the midfield. We signed Javi Lopez in January for 4.2 million, and he's hit the ground running. I think what we might need to do is maybe need to change that contract to try and increase the release clause, because he's been outstanding since he came in. He's even popped up with some goals as well. We signed John Moncayola from Osasuna, a lot of money, and found himself out of the team with how Vencador and Herrera played in centre midfield, but definitely a one that can still contribute in the future, especially if we're going to play more games next season with the Champions League. We also signed Alvaro Nunes as a backup right back, especially because he's young as well, just to give us a bit more depth, but limited game time and not very good when he came in. So the board expectation was for us to qualify for the Europa Conference League. We finished third. Raul Garcia scored 23 goals this season, which was brilliant. We might need to find some more goals from somewhere else, just given his advanced age. But given we didn't really start particularly well, like the run up to sort of the Real Madrid game, I mean, we lost 3-1, 3, drew 2 over the first 8. But then after that Real Madrid game, we really kind of turned our form on its head. And the disappointing, obviously, was those 2 results against Barcelona and Almeria, which cost us any chance of possibly finishing second. But by and large, a really good performance in the league. In the cup, the expectation was to reach the latter stages. We reached the quarter-final before we went out on in the last minute of extra time against Real Madrid. So the biggest win was the 8-1 win against Sevilla. Match to remember was the first game against Sociedad. I mean, it had everything. They scored early. We equalised almost straight away. Then we went ahead. Then they equalised. Then they went ahead. And then we scored 2 goals late on to come victorious 4-3. So we did largely play, that 4-2-3-1. And the only probably thing that I would say in terms of our best 11 is Yuri's probably in there because of the games he played, but Javi Lopez was definitely our best left back once he came in January, and really everything. The fullbacks provided a lot of attacking width, and a lot of assists, but for me the player of the season would be Ike Muniain. 10 assists, 14 goals in 35 games. Can't really fault that. And in fact, he was fans player of the season. Sunset was young player of the season. Another one that probably wasn't expected to get an awful lot of playing time this season, but really performed well when he came in, both in the shadow striker role and the box-to-box midfielder role. Julian John Guerrero was the signing of the season. In terms of record breakers, most assists by a player in the season, Villalba had 10. Most player in the match awards, Muniain with 5. Worst discipline, Danny Vivian picked up 19 yellow cards, which is a bit of a concern. And Raul Garcia was the leading Spanish scorer in the league. And overall, a brilliant first season. Signed a lot of young players. Obviously, we had a decent youth intake as well. So as we can see, Raul Garcia, as we saw in the thing there, was leading Spanish goal scorer in the league, ahead of Raul de Thomas and Iago Aspas. Carlo Ancelotti was manager of the season. I finished second with Xavi in third. And in terms of the team of the season, only Lewandowski got in apart from all the Real Madrid players. And then on the bench, we had Danny Vivian and Raul Garcia. And that's it for this episode. Join us next time to see if we do any business in the summer transfer window and to see how we get started in our second season. See you then.